Welcome back, Keepers of the Flame. Okay, I apologize. I was supposed to do a video yesterday, but I got called in to work at Paradise, and who the hell says no to that? So, today we are going to cover eye holes for the lovely little awakening process. So, along with what you're putting in your sight, your vision, whatever, you know, this type of stuff, your environment, which does create the cell. So, bringing in animals, flowers, different modalities. You know, it's a season of death right now. Everything's falling away so that the new can come through. So invoking those energies naturally, moving through the seasons is one of my favorite things to do. It helps me stay in alignment, get in alignment, all that good gravy when it comes to the things that you resonate with. Bring them into your environment. If you're a minimalist, pick a few things. It could be a plant, just a plant that's in the corner on your bare coffee table. I'm not saying you got to do all this. Absolutely not. This is just how I vibe. A lot of people who are not what they call clairvoyant are not going to really identify with having, a whole different plethora of things to visualize, pull on that way. So when you're putting things in your eye holes, now I'm not going to judge because I love horror movies and all that other good stuff. So this isn't about judging about what you put in your eye holes. This is about being vigilant about what it's doing to your system. And if your system's already on overload, maybe don't put those things in for a little while. So if you feel that you're in trauma-based mode, if you feel like you're going through too much, maybe hold off on the horror flicks and what's going on with the diddler, doodad, whatever, and the hurricanes and whatnot. Give your system a break from that because it does take a toll. I will restate this again. Trauma, it is activated in your system via threat or perceived threat. So it doesn't actually have to be in your face. You don't even have to be there to be a witness to it. You can... And it doesn't even have to be on a screen. You can read about it in a book. You know, Stephen King writes horror films. You know, there's things called survival manuals out there for religious people that depict a lot of horrific things. And they're claiming that this prepares you for life. No, it's setting up a narrative that you're supposed to follow for your life. So be very vigilant and mindful when you are putting things in your eye holes for the purpose of either education or entertainment, and learn to decipher the two. You know, understand that, okay, this is going to affect my system because this is reality. So things like the hurricane or P. Diddy or, whatever's going on with that whole slew of trauma stuff, that is going to affect your central nervous system because it's not just that it's happening in a story that you don't have to believe in. This is happening in real life, real time. The victims were real. They're real human beings. And I think the most traumatic part about that is, these people did go forward to the authorities and nothing happened. That's traumatic. That's really traumatic. So not only did you go through the horrific experience, but the people who are paid with your tax dollars are not protecting you. That's traumatic. That's really traumatic for anybody on the globe to have to comprehend, okay? That's really tough to handle. So don't judge yourself for being like, I can't right now. And then politics, I don't pay attention to at all anymore. It's two sides of the same coin, and it doesn't matter who gets in office, the 1%'s getting their way. And it's tragic, it's horrible, because either way, the people are not being looked out for. So that's my hot take on that. So politics is not going to get discussed on this channel. But those are the things that are going to trigger you throughout because they are actual reality. So this triggers a response in your central nervous system to release the cortisol and the adrenaline. Now, cortisol, if you don't know, is the stress hormone that causes disease. Let me repeat that. Cortisol is the stress hormone that causes dis-ease. Okay? So if you've been under a lot of stress for an extended period of time, you're probably, and you haven't dealt with it, you're probably going to see some physical ailments. You're probably going to see some things popping up. You're going to be sensitive to a lot of things. A lot of things are going to trigger your system and say, hey, because you didn't deal with this emotional pattern, I now have to show up in a symptomatic physical way because that's what you came here to do. This is, I'm sorry, this is all the triggers in one video. So our reason for being here is to evolve. And when we get off the evolution train and onto the, I'm gonna, whatever, get off the evolutionary train, your body, your mind, and your spirit will work tirelessly into getting you back into that mode of, okay, this needs my attention right here, right now. Not, okay, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna sweep that under the rug because I just do not want to deal with it. And for whatever reason, it could be an overwhelm of stress to be like, I don't have the wheelhouse to deal with this right now, which is fine. But then when it comes down to the leveling off, you do need to go back and process those feelings, thoughts, and emotions. Otherwise, they show up in a symptomatic manner. For those of you who need a little starter pack on that, and this is backwards. This book, as you can see, is very well loved, very used. My family and I, we reference this all the time. Like, oh no, I cut my finger. What does that mean? All that good stuff. So this will give you like kind of like a baseline to go off of, and it's Heal Your Body A to Z by Louise L. Hay. Wonderful, beautiful human being, super cool lady. Really loved her. Highly recommend. This is a great little resource to have, really handy, because it gives you the mental pattern that you started with, and then it gives you the mental pattern to shift into. It's really cool. So let me give you an example. Let's go with eye problems. Let's see. Eye problems. Let's go. I'm wearing glasses. Let's pick on me. So I am nearsighted. I have a fear of the future. And your little whatchamacallit is I accept, you can't read it backwards anyway. I accept the divine guidance and I am always safe. So I know that just triggered a whole lot of people that wear glasses. That's, maybe that's your little thing that you do for the fall. I accept divine guidance and I am always safe. Maybe that's your new little repertoire you go through life with. For those of you who are far-sighted, let me go back so I can read you that. Do not mean to leave you out. So, far-sighted is fear of the present. I am safe in the here and now. I see that clearly. I thought we would do eyes since we're focusing on that. Anyway, so that's kind of how that little lovely book works. Very cool. Love that for everyday little tidbits. Now, is that going to bring your eyesight back? No, you have to do a couple other things first, but that's for you to research. NASA did a cool study on a little thing called sun gazing. So along with these mantras and eating appropriately, getting your system declogged of all the things that clog your eyesight. I'm not guaranteeing that you're gonna, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but these things do help on a regular day basis. And eating carrots is not bad for you. It's just, they're not bad for you. So give it a go. See what happens. I personally can testify that my prescription is going down and not going up. So there's that. Then we got the third eye that we can't ignore. So let's get into what's called clairvoyance. And that sometimes people confuse clairvoyance with clairaudience and claircognizance and all the other clairs, because there's clear smelling, which is a really cool thing. We'll get into that later in a different video. But right now, let's do the clairvoyance thing and clear tasting. I missed that on the last video. I'll go back and do another one on that. So the signs that you might have clairvoyance or have had it or might get to have it. Now, these are gifts and whatnot that, you know, you don't always have to hone into just one. Some people have a few, some people have all, some people have none. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. This is a multi-fractal or multi-dimensional fractal ecosystem, in that we all have our part to play in this. So, and there's things that come along with the clairs that aren't so great. So we just, you know, it's a double-edged sword. Yeah, you get to know some stuff, but yeah, you have to deal with the really bad stuff too. So that's the yin and yang, the balance. The universe must be balanced. If you are not balanced, you're probably going to have a more tough time than anybody else. So getting past those fears and getting into the knowing. Getting into understanding, seeing the truth for what it is, and not being afraid of anything. Because nothing has power over you unless you let it. I have to stress that. If you are powerless in a situation, it's because you gave your power away. Okay, and in some instances, they might have nabbed you when you were young, and now you're like, oh gosh, I gotta get out of this. So, but you know you need to get out of it. So that requires the work, and it's not easy. And you're not at fault for being born into a system that is not for you. But you do need to do the work to get yourself out. Okay? And it's totally doable. It's going to be rough, but knowing these different tools and putting these tools in your wheelhouse, cleaning up your diet, cleaning up your environment, getting your eyes clear, nose clear, mouth clear, ears clear, all that good stuff will assist you on this journey and make it so much easier than going about it, you know, raw dogging it, if you will. So let's see, the ways in which you might have experienced clairvoyance and not known it is flashes or images. Just a quick, like, while you're walking down the street, boom, something comes in and then leaves. And you're like, what the heck was that? Or twinkly lights in kind of your peripheral vision. Colors before your eyes. I see a lot of rainbows. I went up to the some reptile world thing, and you know, all the snakes. I thought it was the lights. I swore it was the lights. And they have like these, I don't know, weird looking lamp things. They're heat lamps, but they put out like a rainbow looking thing. And all the snakes there had like a rainbow aura on them. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. That must be the lights. And my friend that was with me, she's like, what? And I'm like, the lights are making the snakes look rainbowy. And she's like, those are heat lamps. They're not rainbow lamps. And I'm like, are you sure? So yeah, so things like that. But no, I'm not getting a snake. But I am bringing them more into my environment. Just that energy and whatnot, I had already painted a picture of it, or a couple of them. So understanding that, yeah, you need to tap into that and get away from the biblical, we're going to demonize snakes, especially because now we know that the heart is in the shape of a snake. It's actually a coiled up long muscle that stretches out about 2.5-3 feet. And it's a coil. It's a coiling. So don't demonize nature, because it is literally an aspect of you. Literally. People are like, that's totally separate. We're a different species. Yeah, we might be a different species, but we still depend on nature. Are you not eating food? Are you not drinking water? What is going on that you are not connected to this environment? Hello. So don't demonize things that you don't understand, because, again, we just figured out that literally the heart is a snake, and it just squeezes in on itself and releases. Squeezes in on itself and releases. How freaking cool is that? Okay, sorry. So visualizing is a little bit different than this. Like, these are things that just pop in without invitation or intention. You could also, the second thing is having vivid dreams. You could see glowing lights or flowing lights around people. I see sometimes like that wave, that energetic wave with like little orbs all over it flowing through people. And now this depends on how the person conducts themselves throughout their life. If they're very spiritually evolved, you can sometimes like you know, sometimes they'll even have like animals with them, or you'll get a flash of an animal, and that's the energetic pattern that they're embodying at that particular moment. It's really cool if you just experiment a little bit with it. You might have a vivid imagination as well. So like painting might be a really good medium for you to practice with. You know, I've moved a little bit away from painting. I like dealing with actual objects. So I have a skull that I just decorated with crystal things on it. And so I'm not going to show you that because it's very, I don't know, it feels very personal to me. And it's almost like a sacred object now. But I just put, you know, I took a skull and I just put, you know, little things that meant something to me that I knew the meaning of, and I knew the parts of the brain and whatever else. And so I strategically placed all these things all over this thing, and it was really cool. It was just a bunch of objects that I've collected out throughout the years. So working with that and artistic especially, that's actually number 5, is love beautiful things like art and being out in nature, witnessing the changes of the seasons. Will really help you get into alignment. I cannot stress that enough. Getting out into nature. I go barefoot as much as humanly possible. I loathe socks like nobody's business. It's a trigger within your system that tells you, okay, now's the time. Okay, so we're in the northern hemisphere. We're kind of going through a fall right now, sort of. Kind of. Usually this time of year is supposed to be between like 40s and 60s during the day. We're getting like 80s and 90s, and everybody's confused. Nature's confused, but we're dealing with it. Things are slowly starting to like, okay, now we'll give. So, you know, look to the trees. Look to the trees. They're teaching you how beautiful it is to change color and then release. Fall is my favorite season. They're teaching you to release and let go. Release and let go. Release and let go. It's going to be okay, because in the spring there's going to be new growth. And right now it's your time to settle everything down. Build some compost and some mulch so you can feed that soil when the spring comes. So it's really, really important to kind of understand and get out there and observe the changings, because this is your inner world as well. You are intimately connected with this, and this will help you transition through the patterns of life cycles. You know, this is not even astrology at this point. This is just nature. This is going out into nature and understanding the cycles and how they move and how they have an inherent necessary need for you to visualize that, because your cycles as well are aligned with nature, not just the moon, but with nature. So right now we're releasing, we're letting go, we are preparing for a winter, we are harvesting, we're sorry, bad noises. We're harvesting to prepare for the winter, but we're also settling in. We're making things cozier, warmer. We're lighting candles. We're bringing in a lot more warmth and coziness into our environment. So those things are really important for, especially if you're a visualizer, really, really important. Bring in that comfort, not just visually, but like soft things, warm, fuzzy things that warm your heart, and you want to stay warm throughout the winter. So this is like a transition into that. So let's see. The last one is you might have had imaginary friends as a child. And let's get into the third eye before I run out of time. So the third eye chakra is right here in between your eyebrows, okay? It's kind of what they refer to as the center of intuition and foresight. And there's multitude of ways that you can open your third eye chakra. You might have already. You might have no interest in doing that. That's fine. You don't need to. It's not a requirement for life. This is just for people who are interested, have a not necessarily like a want or a need, but like a drive, a passion for it, and an inner calling, if you will. And that, you know, that can come sometimes confuse and intimidate people, and that's okay. So what I suggest you do, if it's calling you, research it, find the modality, because there's so many different ways to open your third eye. I could do probably 10 videos on it. So this is a way for you to explore how you want to flow through this multi-dimensional fractal ecosystem. I'm not going to pick that for you. This is your thing to explore. I'm just being like, look at, there's a toolbox here. Did you want to see what's in it? That's all I'm doing. So one of the things, you coming, Faye? Wait up, Faye. So this is fluoride. I have this around like a light thing that lights up almost like a candle. I like it, Faye. That's one of the things that can help your third eye chakra. Amethyst, classic. Classic, classic, classic. Ooh, thanks, Faye. So this is one of the most famous like psychic stones out there is the amethyst. Really helps you just connect and strengthens the connection you already have. And a lot of times what you can do is by your bedstand you can put an amethyst. Just doesn't have to be this size. It could be a little. I used to have just little pebbles. When I first started off, I just had little teeny tiny itty bitty pebbles. So start off with what you have. You don't need to do this fancy stuff. I just, you know, once you get to a certain stage in life, you're like, okay, I can do this now. Yay. Okay. So what I would do is I would have a little amethyst, and then I would set a clear crystal quartz next to it. And the clear crystal quartz help amplify it and clear it up. So not only is the psychic from the amethyst going to come in, but the clear crystal quartz is going to kind of cleanse the fogginess out of it and amplify it as well. So is that something you want to do next to your bed? Because a lot of times the vivid dreams come through and you're like, what the heck was that? Those will help you see through the fog and remember. Okay? And when you go to sleep at night, set your intention. Hey, I have a question about this matter or this thing or this person or whatever the heck it is. I have a question. Can you please help me? And you can even write it down and put it underneath your pillow. Can you please help me through this? Blah, 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 blah. Okay? And then program your crystals before you go to bed as well. And all you need to do, don't put oil or anything on them. Program. Okay? So this is your left hand is your receiving hand. Your right hand is your output hand. So you're going to put the intention in the stone. Okay? And you can do that by, I just used to cup the little stone to my hand like this and program them this way. So you can, whatever you got to do. And then my favorite is Labradorite. I do have a lapis lazuli, but it's not here right now. You can't really see the thing. It's so pretty though. How are we going to get that to shine for you? I don't know. But this one's different because I've never seen like a pinky, orangey, peachy one before. This has got some hues of purple in it too. And I'm so sorry you can't see it. Ah! Okay, anyway, so this is labradorite. This is one of my favorite stones. Yeah, love labradorite. Lapis lazuli, lepidolite, angelite, fluorite we did. Sodalite, that's, you can find everywhere. You can go to a craft store and get that. That and lepidolite and sodalite, they sell them super cheap at the craft stores. Iodolite, and I think that's it. I think I covered all of them. So those will assist you with your psychic intuition, whatnots. And you can use cards for that too. But and sometimes doing like the visual thing with the cards too. Like if you find a really good tarot deck, I'm trying to think of one that's like really good visual. That's more for everybody and not for me. It's usually the one I use when it, okay. So when you're doing your tarot cards, instead of having the Rider-Waite, we like the more artistic stuff. What is that? Ooh, the sun. The Hierophant. We like things that are deep and meaningful. So usually a lot of times when we have the visualization part of things, it really helps to study the symbology of those things. So like if you like bird watching, study the symbology of the birds. If you have a color fetish, study the meanings and energies of each color. If you have, I don't know, like there's symbology, there's books that you can buy on symbology, or you can look them up online, like runes and things like that, things that are not letters that have symbols and meanings attached to them. The twinkly lights. We like that visualization. It feeds something within us and it helps us understand the energetic patterns flowing through us. The cards never lie. And you'll begin to understand that if you start using them. So yeah, visualizing is super important, but also trying to tap into those energy resources that are all around you and bring that into your environment. And anything that upsets you, and this could take a while too, because I mean I got a lot of hand-me-downs and whatever else from people that weren't exactly good for me. And working your way up to getting those things out of your environment can be life-changing, because you're not walking around the house. Sorry, I was not thinking when I put this on. Okay, there's Medusa for you. But it's a matter of, and again, I'm tapping into that energy. That's I'm doing a whole like Mythos thing. I might do a read on that today with using this deck. I cleansed her. I did the whole like sleep with it type of thing for 3 nights. All that good gravy. So, bringing those energies in, you don't have to embody them, but it's really important for a visualizer to have that stimulation so they can understand the energetic patterns that they're reading when they go out to the public or whatever. And so you're not so scared when you see things. Like children always stared at me even when I was little. Like little children would stare at me, like 18 months to 3 years old, and it scared the hell out of me. I didn't understand, and I would hide. I would hide behind the nearest adult I could find if little kids were staring at me. So, that just means that they can see. They're still in that young stage where they can see colors and auras and whatever else. And for whatever reason, mine was entertaining. So, learning that, it's not... there's nothing wrong with you. It's just... what they're seeing is something different because they're still so young. They haven't kind of been entrained to close those modalities off. And I think the most thing that I was afraid of is because I was taught from a young age, don't talk about that, don't think about that, focus on something else, blah, 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 blah. So, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm triggering these other little ones to do that. I don't want them to get in trouble. So these little inclinings as you go out into the world, don't be afraid of them. Investigate. Get curious. Don't get fearful. Get curious. All right. Let's. I'm gonna pull a card. Where is it? Okay. There it is. I'm gonna pull a couple cards. Oh, what? Okay. Curiosity. What sparks your interest? Curiosity. What sparks your interest? There it is. Follow that, and everything is gonna be freaking great. Moonbeam. You are on the right path. Okay. There you go. Okay. Have fun playing with all your eyeballs. I love you. Keep your flame. See you later.